The path to true self-awareness. Who am I really? Why do I react the way I do? What is my true purpose of life? These are not just passing thoughts, they are the deepest questions of existence. Yet, most of us live on autopilot mode, trapped in cycles of reaction, overthinking, and inner conflicts. But what if breaking free was simpler than you ever imagined? Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi, one of the greatest sages of modern times, revealed that true self-awareness begins with a single profound inquiry: who am I? Rooted in the timeless wisdom of Advaita Vedanta, this approach doesn't just offer philosophy, it provides a direct, effortless path to inner freedom. It is the simplest yet most powerful method ever prescribed by any master for realizing the truth of who you are. When combined with proven techniques, it becomes a key to dissolving illusions, transcending limitations, and uncovering your highest potential. As Bhagavad Gita chapter 5 verse 16 says, Jnanena tu tadajnanaha yesho nashitamātmanaha teshamaditva vajnanaha prakashayati tatparam. For those whose ignorance is destroyed by self-knowledge, their wisdom, like the sun, illuminates the supreme truth. In this video, we will walk through a clear, step-by-step process to help you master your thoughts, emotions, and actions so you can break free from conditioning and reclaim your true self. By the end, you'll not only have a deeper self-awareness, but also the tools to make conscious choices, transform your life, and experience the world with clarity and purpose. So take a deep breath, because this journey of self-realization begins now. Hari Om. Sadaशिवसमारम्भम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्परम्. I welcome you all with love and bliss for today's session on Infinite Reality of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. To understand what is Brahma Vidya, we need to go through a small story. There was a tiger which was born along with the sheep's flood, and it grew up along with the sheep. And finally it thought, I was a sheep and I couldn't do what all a tiger can do in the jungle. It grew up with the same feeling and was doing all the things that a sheep does. Finally, when it encountered an old tiger which has seen the young tiger and just said, and it's drawn it to a clear lake and has shown its face in the clear lake. Then the young tiger understood it was a tiger. Then the older tiger said, you are a tiger, you are meant to roar, you are meant to do things like the king of the jungle, you are meant for all these things, you are not a sheep. So friends, we all are born with some innate abilities to acquire the self-consciousness or the self-awareness, but we are born along with a herd of sheep where we think our innate abilities are totally stuck. We do not realize our innate potentials that we have and the way we have to grow up, and we can roar like a tiger, we can live like a tiger, we can attain that self-consciousness, self-awareness. We have all those abilities in us. But until and unless the older tiger who has seen it all comes to us and tells us, the aware tiger which knows that we are a tiger, we need somebody in life to draw us towards a clearer lake and show us that this is you are, and that somebody, friends, is the Guru who can take us from the darkness to the light. And we're blessed to have one such Gurus in Bharat, Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharshi. In our contemporary times, the greatest Guru who can explain the concept of Advaita Vedanta in the simplest way possible is Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi. Brahma Vidya, they say, you have to be ready for Brahma Vidya. You have to prepare for Brahma Vidya. There are so many scriptures in Hinduism which explain about Brahma Vidya, but all of them ask us to go through a certain set of steps before learning Brahma Vidya. The simplest form which was set and taught by one of the greatest Guru of all times was Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. Maharshi's teachings were very simple. It drew so many foreigners from around the world, around the Western world, to come to him and seek that priceless steps to achieve that self-awareness. Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi has always explained the things to achieve, the ways to achieve the self-awareness in the simplest way possible. That's why there were thousands and lakhs of people drawn from the Western world and within the country to reach out to him. Silence was his biggest weapon to achieve self-awareness. He always said that there is no creation nor destruction. There is no path nor achievement for one to get along in the way of the self-achievement, self-awareness. He always said that the easier things, easier ways are the best to get into the way of self-awareness. Doing is not the one which is required. If you try to do something, actions do not achieve self-awareness. Being still can achieve self-awareness was always said by Ramana Maharshi. In complex words, if I look into various scriptures, and we have always seen a simpler methodology which says Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya Jiva Brahmana Para, which means the universal consciousness and the Jiva which you have inside are the same. They are not different. And Brahma, the universal consciousness, is a living truth. And the illusion which you have in the world is in the form of the illusion. The illusion is what you face in the world, but the real truth is a Brahman, the universal consciousness. There is a scripture called Avadhuta Gita, which explains these in some of the simpler forms like this, and I think one should get in and read out that scripture as well. Ramana's self-inquiry has a different concept. He always stuck with a concept of silence. He was a global brand ambassador of silence. His learnings were both for the head and the heart. Head is something which you have with various vicharas and the thoughts. The head is filled with various vicharas and the thoughts. A vichara leads to another vichara. A thought leads to another thought. Then few more thoughts, and it is an endless option. It goes on and on and on. It leads to various thoughts again and again and again. So, for the head, the learning is to lean into the heart. And the heart as a pure selflessness. So his learnings are both for the head and the heart. His learnings can take you from form to formlessness. When you try to achieve things with a form, you need to become formless in a flow to get to a thought of self-awareness. So Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi always asks you to transcend your ego, as your head is transient in nature. Your thoughts in your head are endless. Your head is mainly dominated by mind, which is filled with diversified thoughts. It manifests the delivery. It completely is transient in nature. The head is dominated by the mind, and it is transient in nature, and it diversifies your thoughts into various ways. So that's the reason you have to go from this form of thoughts to formlessness of the heart. Bhagavan Ramana's definition of tapas was totally different. Once one great companion, you call him companion or a follower of Ramana, Kavyakanta Ganapati Muni, has asked him a doubt that no matter how much I try, I am not able to concentrate on meditation. Kavyakanta Ganapati Muni was a great sage who has authored more than 30,000 poems on Arunachala Shiva, and various other forms of Lord Shiva, but still he was somebody who has this illusion and this problem of not focusing on meditation. He always asked Bhagavan that I'm not able to concentrate on the meditation, and the Bhagavan very efficiently replied that what you have to do is find out where the source of this I is coming within you. Find out where the source of I is coming within you. Go deeper and deeper and deeper from your head. The source of I can be two types. One is the head and the heart. For most of the people living in this 21st century, the source of I is head because it's all about thoughts. The source of I is the mind which says it is you, it is so and so, it is XYZ, this is your name, this is what you're capable of, this is what you're doing, this is what you've done. You always live in the past or the future, but the I in your head doesn't allow you to live in the present. So Bhagavan said, you just go from your head and deeper, concentrate where your real I is. In dhyana, you focus more and more on the source of I, which the source of real I is the heart, but not the head, because head is transient with the mind and the thoughts. So a thoughtless nature, an actionless feature of your heart has to be established, and that is where you can focus on, you can focus where this I comes from. And he then said, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi then said, this is a process. The process of focusing on the real I, going deeper and deeper, is a real definition of tapas. That is the real definition of tapas. So this way, Ramana Maharshi has defined the tapas. In most situations, most of us always say that when we sit in dhyana, in meditation, no matter how many guided meditations which we follow, we still are not able to find out the solution. We are not able to concentrate on dhyana and meditation. Feelings come in, thoughts come in, let them come in. The subdued thoughts can flow in and in and in. Let them pass on and on and on, and diverge from the head to the heart. So the Ramana's learnings are always for the head and the heart both. That is how simplest form of self-awareness is taught by one and only Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. He's never taught anything to people. He's never asked people to commit actions or do something to attain self-awareness. He always said, do nothing to attain self-awareness. Doing creates an illusion that I am doing. I have done this. I have been meditating is the biggest problem one has. When you dissolve that I into the heart and eliminate that I, that is called the real tapas. That's a differentiation between dhyana or meditation and the tapas, and only the real time tapas can achieve the self-awareness. That's how Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi defined tapas. That's how he said the very first step to get in and derive into the self-awareness is all about. Bhagavan has always said that uncertainty in the human mind stops you from tapas. So that uncertainty has always to be dissolved. How it can be done? Bhagavan always said that no matter where I am here with you. In the Ramana ashram or wherever you are around the world, do not assume me or myself as this physical body when I'm alive. When I leave this physical body into the peaceful harmonies of Arunachala hills, I'm still there. Just manifest me, I am there. I am here with you. I am going nowhere. He always said, I am going nowhere. He's there. Just a manifestation of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi would definitely lead you into the real-time tapas. If invoked properly, if you invoke Ramana Maharshi around you, your mind's distractions are overpassed by an austere and potent calmness. If you invoke Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi in a possibly best way possible, your mind, your distractions are overpowered by an austere and potent calmness and unique peace of bliss that will take you to the real tapas. So invocation of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi with silence and in the way with the real tapas is required so that you can follow this step. Ramana's concept was very simple. Na punyam, na papam, na sukham, na dukkham, chidananda rupam, shivoham, shivoham. It means I am neither the sin, I am neither the virtue, neither joy nor sorrow. I am the pure consciousness. I am Shiva, I am Shiva, I am Shiva, Shivoham. Shiva, according to Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, is an undifferentiated consciousness. What is undifferentiated consciousness? Undifferentiated consciousness is where you think that me as a jiva is not different with Brahma. Me as a jiva is not different from Brahma. When you get into the process of Atma Vichara, please concentrate. Atma Vichara is something where it's a real time. Atma Vichara is a process of unceasing the fear and turmoil. Is a process of unceasing the fear and turmoil or happiness or sadness from your ego and experiencing the supreme peace. It's a process of untagging, unceasing the fear and turmoil or the happiness or sadness from your ego and experiencing the supreme peace and true freedom to finally getting into a state of revire. So what is Atma Vichara? Is just untagging yourself from the fear, from the ego, from the happiness and sadness and get into the process where you connect to the supreme revire. That's what is Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's real way of connecting to the Brahman. The process is as simple as it is. Don't learn any new things. Just leave the ego and the useless equations of life. He just said, just leave the ego. Do not learn any new things. Atma Vichara is not a lesson plan. Atma Vichara is not something where you follow a step-by-step procedure. It's just not winding. It is just unwinding yourself from the ego, from the thoughts, from the actions, and finally bless yourself into the universal consciousness. That's how it is. It's a simpler procedure. Don't do new things. Just fade, leave the unnecessary, useless equations of life. That's what Ramana Maharshi's philosophy of Atma Vichara is. Quite a simple one. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's learnings can be divided into two simple parts. One is not knowing or not trying to know anything. Similarly, not assuming to think that you are something. You are not wanting to become something. You are not trying to know something. You are not knowing to know something. Similarly, you are not trying to become something and not thinking that you are something. As long as your vichara is very clean and you think that you are detached from these things, you can try it on very, very easily. Once you are in dhyana, once you are in meditation, just try, get into your head, let it flow on and until you reach your heart. It's quite simple. I really feel in about a week's time you can achieve this. Just try to dissolve the things, keep coming in. The first part, always I said, it is not knowing or not trying to know things, not thinking you are somebody and trying to become somebody. Both have to be dissolved. Knowing and unknowing, thinking you are somebody and just dissolving that you are somebody will be the first part. And with this, within a week, you come to a state where your transient nature will disappear. The second thing is to realize that He is that which alone is. To realize that He is that which alone is, which alone has always been there. And that is the infinite truth. It's very simple. To realize that this is what alone is. There is nothing else. The Brahman, the universal consciousness is alone is, which I am a part of. To realize that I'm a part of that universal consciousness and this alone exists. There is nothing called I, me exists. And that is what is universal consciousness existence, and that is what is the infinite truth of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. The mind, wherever it goes, it has to return to its source, friends. How much ever meditation you try, if it's not happening, it is just that you are not reaching from your head to the heart. The simpler way I have explained it to you, just dissolve the head's things, let it come in, let it flow on and on and on. It can take few hours, few days, few months, few weeks. In general, it has to come to the heart. The mind, no matter how much it revolves around everything, it has to come to its source one day. And this is what Ramana Maharshi's learning is all about. And he has explained it through silence. When people gathered at his ashram, more than answering the questions, mere silence has answered many of their questions. The thoughts which were flowing in just passed on. So invoke Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi near you. Try this real-time tapas. Let yourself think that you're not something, you're not trying to know something, and you want to realize that the Brahman is a universal consciousness, that's the only thing exists. Follow this step by step. You are there because mind, no matter how much it wanders, it has to come to its source one day, and let that mind sink in and come to this source. Then things will work out and you are on the track of Atma Vichara for sure. Understanding deeper, there was a monk who has put a pot on the table. What's there in the pot? Is it empty or filled? Then the disciple said it's empty because it's an empty pot. Then the monk asked, was there a space in it? Is there a space in it? Then the disciple said, yes, there is space in it. He immediately went up to the pot and has broken the pot, and now he has asked, where has the space which was there in the pot gone now? The disciples couldn't answer. He said, there was the space in the pot, I've broken it. It is a part of this universal space. There's nothing called a different space which is there inside the pot. If the pot feels that it has its own space, then it is not true. Similarly, a human life thinks, I am something, I have some space, I am some living being, I have a jiva inside me, I have that feeling of I, then definitely it breaks down at some point of time and you become a part of it. So we are living a life of a pot which feels that I have my customized, personalized space. We do not have it. Everybody is a part of the universe. That's what Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi always believed, that you are a smaller and a minute part of the universal consciousness. Don't create an illusion of a pot. The pot being a pot without having that intelligence, might have felt that I have that space within me, but being a human with a jiva, with utmost intelligence, you couldn't be thinking the same. Let that space which is carried for yourself, which is customized and personalized yourself, feel that you are a part of the universal space. You are not different. Bhagavan always has proposed a few things to think in the way which might sink your Atma Vichara. The first part would be, I would say, Sat Bhava. Having Sat Bhava is a prerequisite, one of the prerequisites for Atma Vichara and the part of the self-inquiry. Sat Bhava, Sat means a true self, Bhava means Vichara. Sadbhava is the true self and Bhava is Vichara. Experiencing the true nature of Vichara is Sat Bhava with your true self, a true self within inside. Experiencing a true Vichara, a true Bhava is what is Sadbhava. It's a word-wise definition. It's a word definition. But if you go into the real time, abiding in the true self, dissolving the mind, ego and body, abiding in your true self, dissolving the mind, ego and body is something which is a real time Sat Bhava. Sat Bhava, as I said, is a prerequisite for self-inquiry. Recognizing that you have self-inquiry, recognizing that you are going in the direction of the self-inquiry, recognizing that you are having that Sat Bhava has few characteristics. I would say some 4 to 5 characteristics which you have to recognize that you are having that Sat Bhava, like the transcendence of ego. The very first feature that you will have to decide that you are in the state of Sat Bhava is your ego transcends. No matter how much situations you face, how many things you face, how many battles you fight within your mind and outside world, your ego doesn't transcend. That's the very first part. It might not be 100% true, but always realize as a general layman, when you feel that you are not reacting to situations anymore, that is the first and the foremost direction or sign that you are having Sat Bhava. So if you are not experiencing it, try not to react to situations. Let that ego do not transcend to situations. Let the ego be in control. This is the first sign, first and foremost sign of being in Satbhava. The second sign of being in Sadbhava is effortless being, effortless thoughts, effortless actions, simpler flow of life, not reacting to anything as such. Everything becomes effortless, smoother way of functioning. Life doesn't seem difficult. It's all effortless. Finally, you start feeling that your being itself is effortless. That's what is required to feel that you are on the way of Sadbhava. The second biggest sign of being in Sadbhava is effortless being. The third sign of being in Sadbhava is beyond thought. Thoughts within you cannot control the things which you say, which you do, which you're wanting to do, which you try to do, which you feel that you can be doing, which you feel that you will be doing. All such things cannot control you. You are beyond thoughts, and that is one of the biggest ever sign of Satbhava. And the fourth big sign of Sadbhava is you love silence. You start loving silence. You start loving silence in a way that it appeases your brain. It makes you peaceful. As I said, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's learnings are for the both head and heart. I feel you start feeling that silence. You love that silence in your head first, and it deepens and deepens and deepens and gets into your heart. That is what silence is all about. The fourth biggest sign that you are on the way of Satbhava is you love silence. You start loving silence. If you do not love silence, try loving silence. Experience the silence. Start functioning, start implementing a Mauna Vrata for a day. The sages used to do that just to make sure that they are in Satbhava. If not for a day, try with an hour. It gives you immense pleasure of being silent. And that is one of the biggest signs of Satbhava. And once these four qualities start appearing in you, you feel that you are in the path to liberation or moksha, just a path to liberation. You do not attain liberation, but you are on the path to liberation. So Satbhava is one of the prerequisites of Atma Vichara, and the five biggest signs are: you feel that the ego is transcendence disappears, you feel that you are effortless being, you feel that you are thoughtless, you feel and love the state of silence, and you think that you are on the path to liberation. This is how Satbhava works. That is the first phase of making sure that you are on the way of Atma Vichara or self-awareness. The second part is Nishkamya karma. Nishkamya karma, by definition of the word, says which you do not have any aim or motive to do a karma or an action. In general, if you see any action or deed, please listen carefully, any action or deed which does not or will not or has been not ordained by the will of the God or the Dharma will not yield result. Any action which is not ordained by the God will not yield result. Even if you try hundreds of times, it might give you some physical benefits or results, but it is not Nishkamya karma. Nishkamya karma is something where it's a free state of mind. It achieves by a free state of mind. It is leading to the inner purification and ultimately culminating in the realization of the soul, of the self. Nishkamya karma is a spiritual practice leading to inner purification and ultimately culminating into the self. This is what is Nishkamya karma is all about. What are the types of Nishkamya karma one should be practicing? In this 21st century, Nishkamya karma can be practiced through the act of selflessness like charity. Doing good to people, talking good to people, being good to people, behaving in a way which appeases people only if it is genuine. And all this, as I've said to you, Nishkamya karma can be performed through charity and only if it is dharma, following the dharma. A dharmic, let us put it in another way, a dharmic action which is ordained by the God, which doesn't expect definite or physical results, is called Nishkamya karma. And once you are on the path of the Nishkamya karma, things will work out in a different way. You are in the zone. A Sat Bhava with Nishkamya karma will definitely take you to a self-awareness path. So Nishkamya karma is nothing but performing the actions without the desiring of any kind of fruits is Nishkamya karma. And Nishkamya karma definitely plays a biggest role in self-awareness. It has 4 different benefits. First is, it prepares you for the self-inquiry. It prepares you for the self-inquiry. It reduces the karma bhava. A karma durbhavana is something where you have performed a certain action which has hurt people again and again, and you know that it has hurt people, it has created a damage to people's mentality, their heart, or any kind of things. It is karma durbhavana. The karma durbhavana will reduce when you start doing Nishkamya karma. That is really an efficient way of cleansing your, I wouldn't say sins, but your guilt. The third thing is, it will promote selflessness. Once you are in the path of the charity, I do not feel that doing an act of charity and telling 4 people would be wrong, because it will promote selflessness. People would learn doing selflessness from you, and finally it will definitely lead to liberation as well. So Nishkamya karma is the second biggest thing which you can try to achieve that world and the path of self-awareness. After being on the path of the Nishkamya karma, there is another thing called Ananya Bhakti. So I would like to quote a very famous story of Advaita Vedanta. A person was walking on the street and he sees in the darkness a rope which was on the street, and he was terrified. He was terrified. He thought that the rope can be a snake, and he thought it is a snake, and he thought this snake will harm me. He has boundless fears, boundless thoughts, dimensionless thinking about what would happen to his things, his life, his family. All such things started bounding into him. It made him so frustrated. He was thinking how to defend, thinking it's a very huge snake and how to really cater to it, how to fight it about. At a certain point, he has given it up until a very wise old man came there with a lamp and shown him that it is not a snake, but it is a rope. All of us, friends, we always think the ropes which are in our life, we assume those ropes to be snakes, and we are worried about endless things. One wise man said, cross the bridge when it comes, but we are every day crossing the bridges even when there is no bridge. So that is what the point is all about. If you give your mantle of your life to the head which has limitless actions and thoughts, you will definitely feel every rope is a snake. So that's a reason to reduce these kind of fearful thoughts which will make you think about a rope as a snake. There is something called Ananya Bhava. Meditate upon the God, not other than myself, but within myself. Friends, it's a simple thought that Ananya Bhava is you're meditating upon the God which is universal. You're not meditating upon a certain physical object or anything. You will feel that Ananya Bhava is something where you meditate upon the God which is completely universal in nature, which is not transient, which is fixed, where you feel that that universal nature God is within myself and I am the one. The worshipper and the worshipped is not different. The worshipper and the worshipped is not different, and it can be only be felt using experiential learning. Ananya Bhava meditation is something where you meditate upon the God which is universally existing, and once the God is universally existing, you connect it to yourself. That is what is Ananya Bhava meditation. Ananya Bhava Atmanaha Bhavanam. Ananya Bhava Atmanaha Bhavanam, which is Ananya survives in me as Atma, and I am meditating upon this Atma which is a part of the universal consciousness. Such a feeling will get the universal consciousness into your heart. That is what is Ananya Bhava meditation. Satchit Ananda can be felt. Meditation with Ananya Bhava is no longer just praying to the God. It is Ananya Bhava meditation, which is Sat Chit Ananda, where you feel I am the Sat, this is the Chit, and I am having the tremendous ananda with Ananya Bhava meditation. So the three major phases of Ananya Bhava is mind subsides to all the sources into this. The first sign that you are practicing Ananya Bhava meditation is that the mind subsides into this source. The second thing is the mind and the source are the same. The pinnacle of Ananya Bhava meditation can be achieved when you feel that the mind and the source are same, and it can be achieved with some weeks of practicing the Ananya Bhava meditation where the worshipper and the worshipped are the same. And in heights of karma and Jnana Yoga are achieved when the Ananya Bhava meditation are in heights, the karma and Jnana Yoga can be achieved. So friends, let's summarize what we have talked about today. The first thing is the Brahma Vidya doesn't need any prerequisites. You just walk in, you just feel the happiness in yourself. There is nothing new to do. There are no new actions to be followed. There is something which has to be done. It's all about nothing. The second biggest thing is the Satbhava feeling which you have. It's very important. Then the Ramana's concept of head and heart learnings are important. Then start performing Nishkamya karma. Then the last one is the Ananya Bhakti, which has to be followed. The Ananya meditation, the Tapas. If you follow the definition of Tapas, the way it has to be done in Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's way, if you ignite the field that he's around you, if you get him on near you, if you can ignite the tapas in you, definitely it's possible, because Ramana always said, I am going nowhere, I am here. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's meditation, tapas, Atma Vichara are the simplest in the world to follow, and once you start following, you will see the results. The Satbhava, the Nishkamya karma, and Ananya devotion or meditation whom you meditate upon are the three bigger ways. And always feel that silence is an instrument. Practice Maunavrata and just follow these things. You will be able to get into the real path of Atma Vichara, which is easier. Don't think that meditation is difficult, dhyana is difficult. Get into the real gist of it and you are on. Om Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya, Namah Parvati Pataye. Har Har Mahadev.